He spent one night with a stranger, then hired a maid, and found her again. Asterisk. The rain hammered against the glass windows of the coastal hotel like angry fists demanding entry. Alina Rodriguez pulled her soaked jacket tighter around her shoulders. As she stepped into the dimly lit hotel bar, the storm had caught her completely off guard during her evening walk along the pier. And now she found herself dripping wet in a place far fancier than anywhere she usually spent her limited money. The bar was nearly empty, except for a few well-dressed guests nursing expensive drinks. Alina felt out of place in her simple jeans and rain-soaked sweater, but the warmth inside was too welcoming to leave. She approached the mahogany bar and slid onto a leather stool, trying to make herself invisible. "Rough night out there," came a deep voice from 2 seats down. Alina glanced over to see a man in his early 30s, dark hair slightly tousled, wearing a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. His eyes were the color of stormy seas, and there was something magnetic about the way he looked at her. "You could say that," Alina replied, wringing water from her long black hair. "I wasn't expecting the weather to turn so quickly." The stranger signaled the bartender. "Whatever the lady wants, put it on my tab." Looked back at Alina with a gentle smile. "I'm Marcus, and you look like you could use something warm." Alina hesitated for a moment, studying his face. There was kindness there, but also a shadow of something deeper. Sadness, maybe, or loneliness. "And thank you. It's very kind." As the bartender prepared her hot chocolate with a splash of rum, Marcus moved to the seat beside her. "So what brings you out in weather like this? Besides getting caught in the storm, I mean." Alina wrapped her hands around the warm mug, feeling the heat seep into her cold fingers. "I needed to think. Sometimes the ocean helps clear my head." She paused, studying his profile. "What about you? You don't look like you were caught off guard by anything?" Marcus laughed, but it was a sound. "Without real joy? No, I suppose I don't. I came here to make some difficult decisions. Sometimes you need to be somewhere unfamiliar to see things clearly." They talked for hours as the storm raged outside. Alina found herself drawn into conversation with this mysterious stranger who seemed to understand her love for the ocean and her struggles with an uncertain future. Marcus spoke about the pressure of expectations and the weight of responsibilities he wasn't sure he wanted to carry. As the night deepened, the space between them seemed to shrink. Their conversations grew more intimate, more personal. Alina found herself sharing things she rarely told anyone about her dreams of marine research, her fears about her sister Sophie's health, her constant worry about money. Marcus listened with genuine interest, his eyes never leaving her face. When she laughed, his expression softened. When she looked sad, he seemed to feel her pain. There was an electric connection between them that neither could ignore. "Dance with me," Marcus said suddenly, standing and extending his hand as soft. Jazz played from the bar's sound system. Alina felt her heart skip. "Here, there's no dance floor. Who needs a dance floor?" Marcus smiled, and this time it reached his eyes. Alina took his hand and let him pull her close. They swayed together. Slowly, her head resting against his chest, breathing in his subtle cologne mixed with the scent of rain. His arms felt safe and strong around her, and for the first time in months, she felt like she could let her guard down when the music ended. They remained close, looking into each other's eyes. The attraction between them was undeniable, crackling, like electricity in the air. "Elena," Marcus whispered, his voice rough with emotion. "Neither do I," she whispered back, her heart racing. He leaned down and kissed her softly, tentatively at first, then with growing passion as she responded. The kiss tasted like promises and possibilities, like two souls finding each other in the darkness of a storm. "Would you like to go somewhere more private?" Marcus asked against her lips, his forehead pressed against hers. Alina knew this was crazy. Knew she was about to do something completely unlike her usual cautious self. But something about this night, about Marcus, made her want to be brave.
"Yes."
She breathed. 6 months later, Alina stood outside the gates of the Pacific Marine Research Institute, clutching a folder containing her resume and references. The morning fog rolled in from the ocean, making the impressive glass and steel building look like something emerging from a dream. She had never imagined she would have a chance to work at such a prestigious facility. But desperate times called for bold moves. Sophie's medical bills were mounting, and Elena's part-time job at the local aquarium barely covered rent, let alone the specialized treatments her younger sister needed. When she saw the advertisement for a research assistant position at the institute, she knew it was her only chance to make enough money to help Sophie get the care she deserved. The security guard checked her identification and directed her to the main building. Elena's heels clicked on the polished marble floors as she made her way to the reception desk, trying to project confidence she didn't entirely feel. "Elena Rodriguez here for an interview with Dr. Wright," she told the receptionist, a woman who looked like she belonged in a fashion magazine rather than a research facility. "Of course, Dr. Wright is expecting you, but first Mr. Stone would like to meet with you personally. He makes it a point to meet all potential new hires." The receptionist's smile was professional but warm. "Take the elevator to the top floor." Elena's stomach fluttered with nervousness as the elevator climbed. Meeting the owner of the institute wasn't something she had prepared for. She smoothed her navy blue dress and checked her reflection in the elevator's polished walls. The top floor was stunning, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. Elena was directed to a spacious office where a man sat behind a large desk, his back turned as he spoke quietly on the phone. "Yes, I understand the urgency, but we cannot compromise the integrity of the research," the man was saying. "I'll review the proposals and get back to you this afternoon." When he turned around, Elena's world tilted on its axis. It was Marcus. The same stormy gray eyes, the same strong jawline, the same hands that had held her so tenderly that night 6 months ago. For a moment, neither of them moved, both frozen in recognition and disbelief. "Elena," Marcus breathed, rising from his chair slowly, as if he was seeing a ghost. "Mr. Stone," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. Her carefully rehearsed interview answers evaporated from her mind. They stood looking at each other across the office, the memory of their passionate night together hanging in the air between them like an unspoken secret. Elena felt her cheeks burn with a mixture of embarrassment and something else, something that felt dangerously like longing. "Please, sit down," Marcus said finally, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. His voice was carefully controlled, professional, but Elena could see the storm brewing in his eyes. She sat, crossing her legs and trying to regain her composure. This was surreal. The man she had made love to, the stranger who had shown her such tenderness before disappearing from her life without a trace, was now her potential employer. Marcus resumed his seat, picking up her resume with hands that Elena noticed were not quite steady. "Impressive qualifications," he said, scanning the document. "Marine biology degree from UCLA, research experience at Scripps, published papers on coral reef restoration." "Thank you," Elena replied, finding her professional voice. "I'm very passionate about marine conservation, and what brings you here?" "To our institute specifically?" Marcus asked, his eyes meeting hers. Elena felt trapped between honesty and professional discretion. She couldn't very well tell him that she was desperate for money because her sister was sick, not when she was trying to make a good impression. But she also couldn't ignore the elephant in the room. "I believe in the work you're doing here," she said carefully. "The Institute's reputation for groundbreaking research in marine ecosystems is well known in academic circles." Slowly setting down her resume. "Elena, we should address what happened between us." "Should we?" Elena asked, her heart hammering. "It was 6 months ago, one night. Between strangers." "Was it just one night between strangers?" Marcus asked quietly, leaning forward slightly. "Because it didn't feel that way to me," Elena felt, her resolve wavering. The truth was, she had thought about that night more times than she cared to admit. She had wondered about Marcus, had even Googled his name once. She realized he must be someone important based on the expensive hotel and his generous nature, but she had never imagined their paths would cross again like this. "I need this job," Elena said finally, meeting his gaze directly. "My qualifications speak for themselves. What happened between us, ... That was different. This is professional." Marcus studied her for a long moment. Elena had the unsettling feeling that he could see right through her carefully constructed walls. You're hired, he said simply. Just like that? Alina asked, surprised. Your credentials are excellent, and Dr. Wright spoke highly of your phone interview. The position is yours if you want it. Marcus paused, his expression serious. But Alina, we'll be working closely together on several projects. Are you sure? You can handle that? Alina lifted her chin, calling on reserves of strength she had developed through years of struggling to make ends meet and caring for Sophie. I'm a professional, Mr. Stone. I can handle whatever this job requires. The next morning brought crisis in the form of a frantic phone call. Alina was in her small apartment, getting ready for work, when her phone rang with Sophie's number. Alina? Sophie's voice was weak and shaky. I'm at the hospital. I collapsed. At work last night. Alina's blood ran cold. Which hospital? I'm coming right now, St. Mary's, Sophie said. But Alina, you don't have to come. I know you have that important job. Don't you dare worry about my job, Alina said, already grabbing her keys and purse. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She called the institute from her car, leaving a message that she had a family emergency and wouldn't be in. Then she drove through the city traffic with her heart in her throat, praying that Sophie was going to be okay at the hospital. Alina found her younger sister looking pale and fragile in the stark white bed. Sophie had always been small, but illness had made her seem almost translucent, like she might disappear if you looked away. The doctors want to run more tests, Sophie said, trying to smile but failing. They think the current treatment isn't working as well as it should be. Alina took Sophie's hand, feeling how cold and thin it was. We'll figure it out. We always do, Alina, Sophie said quietly. The money for this, for all the tests and treatments, I know how hard you're working. Maybe we should consider. Alina said firmly. We're not giving up. We're not settling for less than the best care. I'll figure out the money. But even as she said it, Alina felt the weight of impossibility. Sophie's medical bills were already stretching her new salary to its limits. If they needed more expensive treatments, it's more specialized care. Alina spent the day at the hospital, holding Sophie's hand through tests and procedures. It wasn't until evening that she realized she had missed an important project meeting with Marcus and Dr. Right, her phone buzzed with several missed calls and text messages. The last one was from Marcus himself. Alina, please call me. I'm worried about you. Alina stepped outside the hospital to call him back, her emotions raw from watching her sister suffer. Alina, Marcus answered immediately. Where are you? You all right? I'm at the hospital, Alina said, her voice breaking slightly. My sister, Sophie, she collapsed last night. There was a pause. Then Marcus said, Which hospital? I'm coming. No, Alina said quickly. Marcus, you don't need to. Alina, I'm coming. Text me the address. Alina saw Marcus walking through the hospital corridors carrying a bag from an expensive restaurant and a small bouquet of flowers. He found her in the waiting room, looking exhausted and worried. How is she? He asked, sitting beside Alina and taking her hand. Alina felt tears she had been holding back all day start to fall. They don't know yet. They're running more tests. But the doctors think her condition is getting worse. She might need a different treatment protocol, something experimental and expensive. Marcus pulled Alina into his arms, holding her as she cried against his shoulder. We'll figure it out, he said quietly. Whatever she needs. Marcus, I can't ask you. Alina started. You're not asking. I'm offering. Marcus pulled back to look at her. Alina, I care about you, which means I care about the people you love. Let me help. Alina looked into his eyes and saw sincerity there, but also something else. Determination. Love. Why? She whispered. Why would you do this for us? Marcus cupped her face gently in his hands. Because that night we met, you told me about your sister. You talked about how much she meant to you, how worried you were about her health. Knew then that you were someone special, someone worth. Knowing, in these past few weeks working with you, seeing your dedication and your strength, Alina, I'm falling in love with you. Alina felt her breath catch. Marcus. I know it's complicated, he continued. I know there are professional considerations and power dynamics we'll have to navigate. But Alina, what I feel for you is real. And if helping Sophie helps you, then I want to do it. Alina looked at this man who had appeared in her life like a gift, first as a stranger who had shown her tenderness in a storm, and now as someone offering to help save the person she loved most in the world. "I'm scared," Alina admitted. "Scared to depend on anyone, scared to let someone else take care of us." "Shh. You don't have to be scared," Marcus said softly. "Not with me. We're partners, Alina, in work and in everything else." Before Alina could respond, a doctor approached them in the waiting room. "Ms. Rodriguez, your sister is awake and asking for you. And there's been a development in her case. We'd like to discuss some treatment options with you." Alina stood, Marcus's hand still. "In hers? Together?" she asked him quietly. "Together," Marcus confirmed, as they walked toward Sophie's room. Alina felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Hope. Not just hope for Sophie's recovery, but hope for her own future. Hope that maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to face everything alone anymore. 3 months later, Alina stood on the deck of the Institute's research vessel, watching the sunrise paint the Pacific Ocean in shades of gold and pink. The morning was calm, with gentle swells rocking the boat rhythmically as they prepared for another day of coral sampling. Sophie was back at home, responding well to the new treatment protocol Marcus had helped arrange. The experimental therapy was working better than anyone had dared to hope, and Sophie was stronger than she had been in years. She had even started college classes part-time, something Alina had never thought would be possible. "Beautiful morning," Marcus said. Coming up behind Alina and wrapping his arms around her waist, Alina leaned back against his chest, feeling completely content for the first time in her adult life. "Perfect morning," she agreed. Their relationship had blossomed over the past few months, growing from passion into something deep and lasting. They had navigated the professional complexities by being transparent with and the board of directors, Dr. Wright, had been surprisingly supportive, saying that love between brilliant scientists often led to even more brilliant research. "Alina," Marcus said, his voice carrying a note that made her turn in his arms. "There's something I want to talk to you about here now," Alina asked, gesturing to the research equipment around them and the crew members preparing for the day's work. "Especially here, especially now," Marcus said, reaching into his pocket. "This is where we discovered that thermal anomaly that led to our paper on climate adaptation in deep-sea corals. This is where we've done some of our best work together." Elena's heart started beating faster as Marcus pulled out a small velvet box. "Marcus. Elena Rodriguez," Marcus said, dropping to one knee on the deck of the research vessel. "You appeared in my life like a miracle. First as a stranger who showed me what real connection felt like, then as a colleague who challenged me to be better, and now as the woman I can't imagine living without." Alina felt tears starting to fall as Marcus opened the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring that caught the morning light like captured starlight. "Will you marry me?" "Oh," Marcus asked, his eyes full of love and hope. "Will you be my partner in everything for the rest of our lives?" Alina looked down at this man who had changed everything, who had not only loved her, but had also helped save her sister, who had shown her that she didn't have to choose between love and responsibility. "Yes," she whispered, then louder. "Yes. Absolutely yes." Marcus slipped the ring onto her finger and stood to kiss her, as the research crew around them burst into applause and cheers. Dr. Wright, who had apparently been in on the plan, was beaming from the upper deck. "I love you," Marcus said against her lips. "I love your dedication to your work, your devotion to your sister, your strength in facing every challenge. I love everything about you." "I love you too," Alina replied, her heart full to bursting. "I never thought I could have this, could have everything." Yes. They kissed again. Alina thought about that stormy night 6 months ago, when she had sought shelter and found so much more than she had ever dreamed possible. Sometimes the best things in life came when you least expected them. When you were just trying to get out of the rain, the research vessel continued toward their sampling site, carrying Alina and Marcus toward their future together. Behind them, Sophie was getting stronger every day, supported by the best medical care available. Ahead of them lay a lifetime of shared work, shared adventures, and shared love. Alina looked out at the vast Pacific Ocean. It's the same ocean that had called to her since childhood, the same ocean that had brought her and Marcus together professionally. Now it felt like a promise of infinite possibilities, endless horizons to explore together. Ready to get back to work, Dr. Rodriguez Stone-Tubby? Marcus asked with a grin. Alina laughed, feeling lighter and happier than she had ever thought possible. Ready for everything, she said. With you, I'm ready for everything. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Alina and Marcus returned to their research, but now their work felt like part of a larger love story. They were partners in every sense of the word, building a life together that honored both their professional passions and their personal dreams. The ocean stretched endlessly before them, full of mysteries to solve and wonders to discover. And Alina knew that whatever challenges or adventures lay ahead, they would face them together, hand in hand, heart to heart. For all the days of their lives,